Welcome to this edition of Hawk Talk. Just after Game 39 of the CCBL season for the Harbor Hawks, they were able to pick up a 5-0 win over the Bourne Braves here on Judy Scarafao Field. Chris Walker's my broadcast partner. I'm Chris Lucey, and Chris, Jordan Martinson got rumbling right out of the gate for Hyannis and was exceptional in 5+ innings of work.
Well, that's where it starts with this team and with every team, and that's good pitching and good starting pitching. And it's something the Harbor Hawks have really struggled at getting a lot of times for stretches this year. But today, again, you see a pitcher go out there and give you a solid outing. 1 run, 2 runs, or 0 runs is pretty solid in 5 innings, and Martinson gave 0 runs, and it doesn't get any better than that. It was his best outing of the year, one of the better pitching performances we've seen from any pitcher.
5+ innings, only 1 walk, 7 strikeouts from Jordan Martinson. He was masterful, and he had to be masterful to be able to follow up what Brian Eichhorn was doing on the other side. But while Eichhorn was masterful for the Braves, Chris, his fielders behind him did not do him much good, as the Bourne Braves gave up 3 errors in a 3-run rally for the Harbor Hawks in the bottom of the 3rd.
Well, I talked to Justin Galanti after the game, the Bourne Braves broadcaster, and he said this was as bad as it's been all year. They've lost a few guys up the middle in the infield, but still, you can't make errors on routine plays at this level of baseball. It's just inexcusable, and Bourne really did hurt themselves with the errors tonight.
They certainly did. Hyannis, however, able to capitalize on the 4 errors by the Bourne Braves, taking this one 5-0 on what was a huge game from Chris Proctor, as well as he's continued to stroke it pretty well, 3 for 4 in this ball game.
I almost picked him as player of the game, but I went with Jordan Martinson. But I'll tell you what, he was at 300 coming into today's game, and he's well above it now. It's so good to see him. He's got over 60 at-bats now. He's just really having a great year.
Cesar Trejo, also a great game today, as we saw him taking a few extra swings before the game got started, and they paid off as he had his first multi-hit game of the season for the Harbor Hawks in what was about as big a spot as it could be for him.
Well, yeah, Trejo, the problem with his swing earlier on the season, Chris, and we both saw this, and everybody could see it, is he was taking huge swings at pitches that maybe he should have just tried to knock into right field for an inside-out hit, or, not do too much. He was doing way too much. He shortened up his swing today, and it showed 2 hits, including one of the biggest ones of the season for this team, which put this game out of reach.
Meanwhile, over in Wareham, the game's starting to get out of reach for the Gatemen. As it stands right now, Wareham losing to the Orleans Firebirds. And Chris, as the Western standings were before this game, Hyannis with 29 points, Wareham with 33 points. Now, Hyannis with 31, creeping ever more closely to the 4th place Wareham Gatemen out of 5th place to try and get that final 4th playoff spot in the Western Division.
Well, yeah, and you know what? For Hyannis, regardless of what Wareham does tonight, there's still time in that game. They could potentially come back. It's not likely against Orleans, but regardless of the outcome, the Harbor Hawks are still going to be out of a playoff spot after tonight, and they have to win tomorrow in Bourne. It's the same team. If the same Bourne team shows up, then we might be tied for a playoff spot at the end of the day tomorrow. But they can't think about the standings tonight because they're still out of the playoffs. They need to win tomorrow before they can start thinking about numbers.
That game getting underway in Bourne at 6 p.m. tomorrow. Be sure to catch us on our YouTube page, Hyannis Harbor Hawks, where you can catch this edition of Hawk Talk. Thanks so much for joining us. On behalf of Chris Walker, I'm Chris Lucey. We'll see you tomorrow.